Horror news: a town in Montana has been freezing time for 15 years. People don't age. A meteorological survey team was examining an area of Montana, USA where weather satellites had found something strange. Over the course of 2 weeks, the area hadn't changed. The trees didn't shed their leaves, the cars didn't rust. It was almost as if time itself had stopped flowing there. And this is how they made a horrifying discovery about the town of Hollow Creek. It was a quiet town, barely more than a hamlet with just 168 residents who lived there in peace. That is until 2010, when it was evacuated by police forces because of a huge snowstorm. But when the survey team reached the town, they noticed that everything seemed normal. There was no snow, no ice, or anything else that would indicate a recent storm. But when they got closer, they froze in horror. What they saw was so terrifying that none of them ever wanted to return to Hollow Creek again. Everyone was still standing still, doing their everyday activities as if someone had hit pause on a film. The coffee was still cooling on the tables in the cafe. Books lay open on people's laps, and knitting needles fell to the floor next to half-finished woolen items. A dog even remained frozen mid-shake beside its owner. It was like they had been turned into statues. They could see people walking down the street, going about their business. No one blinked, no one moved. They appeared to be dead, yet none of them had decomposed. Leaves had not fallen from the trees, nor had any snow accumulated on the ground. Everything suggested that life should have been present here. When the task force arrived, they contacted headquarters and asked for backup to take some samples. When the locals woke up, the authorities would question them to find out what had happened and why they had been stuck like that. But then a new discovery shook everyone to the core. The people were still alive. The first person to wake up was Mrs. Eleanor Vance, an elderly lady whose house was near the town center. She opened her front door and began to walk toward town, humming a tune under her breath. As she passed by, the metal detector of the task force member accompanying her suddenly went off the charts. He looked at his watch, pressed the record button, and continued following the old woman. At first, the numbers went up slightly, but then the Geiger counter started clicking frantically. They followed her for a while, noting that the machine registered 14 heartbeats per minute, plus a slow rise and fall of the chest that indicated breathing. All other vital signs, however, seemed non-existent. Her eyes were wide open, staring ahead of her, but they did not blink. There was no response to pain when they pricked her finger. After about 10 minutes, they brought the old woman back to the town square, where the officer put her next to a statue of a seated woman. Then he discreetly took out a sleeping pill from his pocket and slipped it into her hand. But instead of calming her down, she simply stared at it for a few moments before placing it on the table next to her. The team decided to let her rest there overnight and come back in the morning to see if anything had changed. In the morning, the old woman sat up and immediately began to cry. She said, "What year is it?" An officer approached cautiously and replied, "It's 2025, ma'am." "You've been asleep for 15 years, asleep," she whispered, shaking her head. "I don't remember anything. I just got out of the shower, the light flashed, and then I heard a voice saying, 'Wake up, it's time to go home.' Now people say it's been 15 years. I can't believe it. From the moment the first resident woke up, the others also began to stir. Some rubbed their eyes and asked the officers what was going on. Others began to complain of headaches and nausea, while some fainted as soon as they left their homes. So the authorities decided to keep them there for further observation. But before they did, another survey team found something even more shocking. In the center of the town square was a large pile of dirt from which rose a silver spherical device that emitted a steady electromagnetic field at a frequency of 60 seconds time. Around the sphere was engraved an unidentified symbol that resembled ancient runes. Experts later discovered that it was written in Latin and translated to tempus non currit, meaning time does not pass here. No one knew what the device was or how it was connected to the people of Hollow Creek, but they agreed that it was probably related to the mysterious stasis that had trapped them. The fact that the townspeople were coming back to life meant that the situation was getting out of control. So the authorities set up a perimeter around the town and ordered its evacuation. But once the news broke, a group of scientists and researchers ignored the ban and went to Hollow Creek anyway. They tried to understand what was happening there, but none of them could get close enough to find out. As soon as they stepped into town, they felt sick and had to lie down on the grass. Soon, images of the sky filled their minds, and then they blacked out. When the first responders arrived, they found these scientists unconscious on the ground and rushed them to the nearest hospital. At first, doctors thought it might be some kind of mass poisoning, but their tests proved negative. After a few hours, the patients woke up and reported having vivid dreams about the sky and stars. This led scientists to conclude that something in the town was interfering with brain activity and causing mental breakdowns. Some claimed that the spheres produced a frequency that slowed brain activity to extremely low levels, which in turn slowed or stopped the biological clock of the human body, leading to a state of suspended animation. If this is true, it means that the townspeople of Hollow Creek may have been frozen in time for over a decade without anyone knowing about it. So far, only the first resident who woke up has given an account of what happened inside the town. According to her, nothing unusual had happened in the town in recent years. Life went on as usual. But one day while she was taking a shower, a bright flash of light suddenly illuminated the bathroom. She stood still for a moment, stunned by what had happened, but soon brushed it off and went about her daily routine. Then a voice echoed in her mind, "Wake up, it's time to go home." At first she thought she was crazy. She looked around the bathroom, but no one was there. Then the voice spoke again, this time with more urgency. "Wake up, you have to leave now." The old woman realized that she had no choice but to listen. So she got dressed and went outside. She walked to the town center and sat down on a bench to wait for things to settle down. That's when she met the officer who accompanied her back to the town square, where she sat down next to a statue of a seated woman. All this raises many questions without answers. What will happen to the people of Hollow Creek? Will they continue to wake up, or will they remain forever in their timeless stasis? What is the origin of the sphere in the town square, and how does it relate to the device? Is there any way to stop this phenomenon, or will it continue indefinitely? Scientists are working hard to find answers to these pressing questions, but so far, none of them have succeeded. Some believe that the sphere is a failed government time experiment that was buried there many years ago, but there is no evidence to support this theory. Others think that it could be a natural time warp that has never been recorded on Earth before, but that idea seems highly unlikely. Perhaps the most intriguing theory is that an alien mothership was experimenting with time slicing on this small community, temporarily removing them from the space-time continuum. However, we can only speculate until we find out more information. For now, the people of Hollow Creek are safe in a nearby shelter while experts try to figure out what to do next. But as the days go by and no one comes up with a solution, fear begins to grip them again. What if they never get out of this town again? What if they're destined to live out the remainder of their lives here in suspended animation? One thing is certain, though, whatever happens next will change humanity forever. If we manage to find a way to control this phenomenon, we could potentially unlock the secrets of time travel and interdimensional portals. But if it continues unabated, we may never know what happened to our friends and neighbors from Hollow Creek, or whether or not they lines ever return home again. Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.